Good.
Dave and I look uncomfortably close together though on the camera. So it looks like the corner on the camera.
All right, Kyle, we're ready. Eddie's going to be a little late tonight. End of the month, they got to get their sales all in, he said, so. Go ahead.
The meeting tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda, public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, please raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Okay, please rise for the pledge, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's have a moment of silence tonight for all the brave men and women who passed to let us do what we do every day in our country, and for the Ukrainians who are also fighting that fight tonight and every day for the freedoms that they are trying to protect. And also for Lois Hepworth, a lifelong resident of our town and a pillar of our town. Let her rest in peace. Thank you. All right, guys, I have one change to the agenda. We got an update to Resolution 32. So I need a resolution per our attorney to update the current resolution number 32 to award the Town of Marlborough Rec Center Phase 1 asbestos abatement to the new submitted resolution, and that's because of the low bid we found out today is not eligible to receive this bid, and I'll get into that as we get into the bid. So the bid is going to be awarded to the second lowest bidder. So I need a motion to update resolution 32.
I'll make that motion to update Resolution 32.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I also need to update the presentation. Rieger and Baxter from Bayside Projects will not be here tonight, so I'm going to remove that from the agenda for tonight, and I need a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And just to give you an update, they're not coming tonight. I requested them not to come tonight. I think I talked to a few of you. It's basically because I had a follow-up meeting with the school district, and there's some changes to what myself and the superintendent and their board has requested Baxter and Rieger for their pilot program, and I didn't think it was wise for them to come tonight and answer questions on something that we haven't worked out the details on yet. So they will come back at a later time and give us an update, okay? So I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, where's Mark? Oh, there's Mark.
Hey, Mark.
All right,
I don't.
our favorite time. Motion to authorize payment of bills in the amount of $319,729.10. I need a motion to approve the bills.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, supervisors update. I guess we're kind of going to go through what we're going to update as we go through this tonight, so I'm not going to spend much time on that tonight. I'm going to go right into presentations, and we have Phil Bell and Sierra Internet here from our engineering and architectural team, and they're doing the Town of Marlborough Recreational Center. So I wanted to give the public some input and some diagrams of what we have been talking about over the last year almost, and show you some design plans. So Phil and Sir, if you want to come on up, I'll put your... So as, this is a document we've had for a few years, right, Phil, that we've gone through and updated as times have changed, you know, over the last year or two, prices have changed. So as the prices of goods have changed, we have updated this document. It's kind of like a living document as we go. It just basically breaks down, estimated breakdown of all the items that would be needed to build the community and rec center. It get to the bottom pages, there's the big one, everybody wants to know what the real cost is. So renovation costs are right around the $687,000 mark right now. The asbestos is $89,900. You're going to see that tonight. And so that brings the total project as of right now, if everything Phil estimated exactly, would be $777,375.
But that's an estimate, though.
That's an estimate. That's not accurate, but...
The asbestos abatement should be accurate.
Well, this is accurate, yes. This is the actual bid, right. So this is the actual bid. So Phil, I'm going to leave it to you from go on. You could explain.
Yeah, definitely prices are a moving target due to obviously a bunch of reasons. We have material costs changing every day. Even labor costs are changing due to supply and demand
Bill.
from contractors.
Just talking to that. You could
Can you hear me?
take it. You got a little room.
All right. Okay. Okay, I'll start over. This has been probably one of the more challenging aspects of this project is to accurately estimate the project cost because of the moving targets with all kinds of costs. Material costs are changing all the time, and actually labor costs are changing as a result of supply and demand, and in some cases contractors have issues getting resources for what they need to do. So doing our best here to estimate. One of the things that has come back closer to what it used to be pre-pandemic was the cost of lumber. But other things such as appliances, other amenities, fasteners, which is a big part of construction, nails, hangers, all kinds of different things. Those costs are continuing to increase. So it's very challenging to try to put a number to this. At one point in time, we had a project that had gone up 20%. It was in the paper. It was a Tanner Newburgh project for this school board. And it went up 20%. It was 20% higher than what they had estimated. So I put that 20% against our project. Since then, prices have come down a little as far as building materials. So this is approximately 15%, 10 to 15% more than what we originally estimated pre-pandemic. And that's why we're at the number of 687,000. Another thing that is a moving target, so to speak, is the town has actually agreed to do a lot of the work in-house, which has saved themselves a significant amount of money. A lot of the demo work they were able to do themselves. They're also doing some work on the exterior. And these were all things that were originally in the project budget, and we were able to pull out of the project budget. So it went way up, and then with the town's help, it came back down, and then with a little reduction in the cost of materials, it's again came back down. My original estimate back in 2019 was $660,000. Prior to any of the work that the town had done in-house, I was up to, I think it was 800,000.
890.
890, yeah.
890.
So it's really been a balancing act. This should be pretty close. I think the guys are becoming more and more competitive. We should see a continuation of material costs dropping, but now again with global events, that's another difficult thing to ascertain. So the one number we have fixed right now is number 7.0, which is the asbestos abatement. We do have the second low contractor that we are choosing, $89,900. The only thing that would change there if he uncovers any extra asbestos. We don't suspect the study that was done by Quest seem to be very thorough. We're going to use Quest on this project to do the management, the environmental management. They're going to be doing air sampling. They're going to make sure that the contractor is within his regulatory responsibilities. Things like disposal of the asbestos, they'll all be scrutinized and overseen by Quest. So we have an environmental consultant on board to make sure that this portion of work is done successfully. What we did was, at first, we had the asbestos abatement wrapped into the renovation project, and then we thought it best to separate the two to make sure that we get the asbestos done before we move ahead with the rest of the renovation project.
And yeah, some of that came also, just so the public knows too, some of that came about too is because the willingness of our highway department and water department to do work within the building. We wanted to make sure the building was clear of asbestos, that they weren't removing things that were asbestos. And that's another reason why we pulled this out of the project, that now once this asbestos is out, they can go back in and finish some of the demo work that they had started. And we wanted to make sure that it was clear and fair. And bringing Quest into the equation was a no-brainer. It's something that is required, but they actually have done all the analysis of the building, not once, but twice. So they know this building very, very well. So Greg from Quest Labs, we had approved in a prior meeting already, so he's already on board. So working with Phil and the new contractor, I think we're going to get this done quite quickly. And that'll lead us into, Phil, your
Project schedule.
your kind of project outline of how we're heading.
Okay, so what we need to do here is the board needs to approve the low bidder at this point, and then we are going to send him a notice of award. Based on the contract document states that he has 2 weeks to return that contract because he has to be given adequate time to review it with council. I've already talked with him. He said he should have it back within a week. Then what happens is we give a notice to proceed. Within the contract, we have given 40 days to complete the contract. That 40 days starts at the notice to proceed. So we need to put the contracts in place another week, week and a half before they get signed and that notice to proceed is issued. I discussed the schedule with the contractor. He's very comfortable with that. Much of the asbestos work done this day and age is in schools, so this is kind of their slow period. So he is actually more than available to begin work immediately, which he is planning on doing. Really what's going on here is we're giving 30 days for construction. The 40-day number is because the New York State requires a 10-day notification. So they need to notify the New York State DEC and then need to notify federal agency, the EPA, down in Manhattan. And they can go ahead and start work, but they cannot start work for 10 days until they give that notification. So we're giving them essentially 10 days for the notification and 30 days to do the work. In a discussion I had with the contractor today, I said, is 30 days enough? And he was very comfortable with the 30-day window. He feels it should take no more than 3 weeks, which leads us into phase 2. Phase 2 is the entire building renovation project. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that project out to bid before the asbestos project is complete. We're going to save a couple weeks. The important time frame with this is a little bit of a risk there is the walkthrough. Okay, so the walkthrough, as you can see in that lightly colored right there, and the lightly colored, the next row down, that's the walkthrough time. We have to give a couple weeks when we put the bid out before we do the walkthrough. Number one, to make sure that plenty of contractors pick up the bid and they're comfortable with it, and then we do a walkthrough. Little risky because if for whatever reason, if the asbestos project is not complete, we cannot do the walkthrough. The building has to be clean before we can get anybody is allowed back into the building. When they start the asbestos abatement project, Technically, nobody's allowed in that building until they are complete, except for the air monitoring consultant, the environmental consultant. And they will be wearing proper protection and all of that. We could enter the building, but it all has to be authorized. We would have to have proper
So
protection.
just to be clear, Phil, this is
Yes.
This is the date that the walkthrough is scheduled for. This is the date we're going to start putting it out to bid?
Yes.
Right? So you could see, as the public could see, the bid, going out to bid is overlapping the asbestos timeframe that we allotted them, 40 days. He actually believes he could be done in 30 days. So we're hoping that would be right around this timeframe where we actually put out the bid. But we do have 10 extra days built into the contract. What Phil's talking about is this is the walkthrough where the contractors on the big bid have to come and walk through the building. If he does overrun a little, it may be a couple days over that we would have to reschedule this day just for the walkthrough. It has no effect on the actual bid because the bid has to be out there for weeks before we would get the bids back for opening, right? So, and that would be around here, right, Phil? If I remember, let me.
Yeah,
Nice
bid
question.
opening.
Bid opening's
Up here's
all the
the
way
last
down
one,
here,
yeah.
so it's the third line up.
Yeah,
So the bid opening's all the way down here.
right there, yeah. So we do have some time.
What was the date for the bid opening?
Right there, 5,
5:10?
May
5,
10.
5, 9, 5, 10, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, the walkthrough, public projects, typically in the past, we used to do what they call mandatory walkthrough. Public projects are no longer allowed to do that, so we're going to do a walkthrough date, but we may have separate walkthroughs if a certain contractor cannot make the particular date. So we have to allow for a scheduling of other contractors potentially. However, the contractor, and this will be written into the contract, must perform a thorough visual examination of the project before he can put a proper bid in. Or it's called a responsible bid. So he's going to have to schedule this walkthrough if he wants to put a responsible bid into the project, and we would just have to make it happen. We had a great response last time. We had all the contractors come to our scheduled walkthrough. We didn't have to schedule any additional walkthroughs. We hope that happens this time. We're going to have a much larger field of contractors on this project. This project is under Wick's Law. It exceeds $250,000, and we are required to do separate contracts. We have to do a contract for general construction. We have to do a contract for the electrician. We have to do a contract for the HVAC, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. And we have to do a contract for the plumber. So we're going to have 4 contracts. Ultimately, we have 5 contracts on this project, which would be the asbestos. So for the main renovation project, we're going to have 4 separate contracts in place. It's going to be my responsibility to manage the separate contractors.
Yeah, that was the question I'm sure a lot of people have, is when you have 4 bids, that was my first question with the new laws. When you have all these separate entities bidding on something, who oversees them? There's not like a regular general contractor anymore. So that's why Phil's job is to be not the general contractor, but he manages the overall job. He's got to report all the documentations to the state that things are being done properly, that the salaries are being paid properly, that prevailing wage is being paid. So that's going to falls on Phil now. So what
So
the
you'd
state
be
did, in
acting like a
other words,
construction
made the
manager?
engineer more responsible for the job rather than just the GC.
Construction manager is the correct term on this. I will be the
Yeah.
construction manager. If anything happens, if we have a serious conflict or an issue, what I do is I go to the town. I go to you guys, and you guys make a decision of how you want to proceed. If we have a problem contractor, you may want to decide to use someone else. You may, it's whatever the case may be. Or if we just have a conflict of schedule, we have the contractors, and we can't work it out first, then we have the contractors sit down with the town board or the town committee, the building committee for this project, and require that they work it out. We put language into the document, into the contract documents, that they are required to work things out amongst themselves. So if they cannot do that, they are now in breach of the contract, and you are allowed to remove them from, from the job.
One question. You're gonna have 4 different groups of people working there at the same time, or is it gonna be
There may be, yeah,
staggered,
yes.
or it's all gonna be there at the same time?
There, yes and no. There will be certain staggering going on, but there may be cases where we have 2 contractors in there at the same time.
But certain things you want done first before you get into the next contract, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your estimation, when do you think the whole project will be complete? I'm not
Okay.
gonna hold you to it, but I'm just.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, and that is a tough one, too. With 4 different contractors, right, if we have one piece, let's say someone's waiting for someone else, and then this guy gets extended,
Right.
so there you go. I expect it to be somewhere, construction, somewhere to 4 to 5 months.
So you're
Shouldn't
looking
be a
at
problem.
Before the winter comes, or before the
Yeah.
end of the year.
October, I'd really like to see it October 1st, absolutely no later than Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But, you know, it can work the other
Anything
way
could
too.
happen.
If the guys are good,
Could be done earlier.
yes.
I mean, just remember, like, what's always hanging over us right now is the worldwide things that are going on with supply chains, right? So, you know, the contractor might have all the good intentions of saying, yes, I could commit to getting this done at a certain time, and then he goes to order something, and they tell him it takes 3 months to get something. So we are a little reliant on that. It just kind of scares me, and I know it scares Phil, and I'm sure it scares all of you, that we have a project that we've been working on for a long time now, and we want to see it completed. I want to get all the paperwork into the state so we could get reimbursed, but we can't do that until the project is complete for the most part. So, yeah, it's going to be a tricky,
Well, I know, I'm in the car business.
you know that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, and to be honest, it's scaring the contractors as well, right?
Yeah.
Because in any project that they do, the longer the project is active, even if they don't have guys on the project, it's ultimately costing them money.
Right.
It's to their advantage to finish the project as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and this may be a concern with some of the bids we get back. They might be higher than we expected just because the unknowns.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing, guys. I mean, we have a budget that we know that we're sticking to. We're thankful that we've gotten money from our assemblymen and our senators, right? So we have a good amount of money to do this, but we also have a budget. So, you know, when the numbers come in, if they fall within our budget, we're going to proceed. If they fall outside our budget, then it depends on how far it falls outside our budget. If it's too far outside our budget, then we have to wait, unfortunately, because, you know, things will come back down to normal. But we're going to see what the numbers come in.
The numbers you use here are current prices for wood and everything like
Current
that?
estimates.
Yeah. That's right now, if they were to start now.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, we got a major war happening right now over across the ocean, and, you know, that affects worldwide supplies. So, you know, we're just hoping that this all works out and we can move forward. And like Phil said, our goal is definitely before Thanksgiving, but early October would be best. And that's where we'd like to hit, but
I don't think that's actually a far stretch. I think that's very achievable.
It's not unrealistic.
you know, and like, you know, we talked about the guys, and we talked about it last meeting, our guys doing work to help us get this project along. Again, if not for their help, we probably wouldn't have this conversation right now, because we probably definitely would be out of budget. I also, you know, Councilman Zambito's been doing a tremendous amount of work up there. If anybody drove by today, you'll see his machines out there, and he's going to donate his time tomorrow with our Highway and Water Department, and they're going to start taking the exterior brick off the building. We tried to see if we could salvage it, but as you touch them, the bricks crumble, unfortunately. That's just the way, you know, they put them in so tight. I mean, me and Dave ourselves tried to get them off.
Yeah, we saw the pictures.
We just couldn't get them off. But, you know, if we can recover any of them and we could use them in some other type of project, because I think it's like an historic thing. I like to keep these types of things. If we could find bricks that we could reuse, we'll try to reuse them. But
I have a question when you're done.
go ahead, Dave, it's all you.
So, Phil, my main concern is, because we've seen it in past projects, what's a typical retainage on these contractors? What can we withhold until everything is done to satisfaction? Is there a number that you can put on it? Because we've had a past project where we held 1%, and I can tell you from being a contractor, nobody's coming back for 1%. So I would like to see no less than 10, maybe 15 would be even better, only so we have some leverage. And you know as well as I do, nowadays, you know, simple math, if I owe you $30,000 worth of work that hasn't been done, and we're holding back 10,000, they ain't coming back.
Okay, so that's a good point. We can write retainage into the contract. But however, we do have a performance bond and a material bond we will have in place. And there's another one, labor bond. So the performance bond is, and nobody wants to cross a bonding company because then they become ineligible to get bonds in the future. The performance bond is basically your quality of work. So if you have a problem with quality of work and getting somebody back, you can call the bonding agency.
All right, so we're good.
The other thing is the labor bond is to make sure that if they have any subcontractors get paid. So we do have things in place. So really the retainage, we cover that under our bonding.
Gotcha. Okay.
We can put a little in place. I have no problems with that as long as we properly write it into the contract. You know, but it can't be excessive.
I understand.
But right
we
now
can
it's at
discuss that first.
5%, right? Right now it's at 5%.
Typically it's 5%.
But it could be more. Could you bring it up to 10 or you can't?
I have to do some research.
I mean, my thing is a reputable contractor is going to care less what it is because they're going to perform.
And contractors that are doing public work regularly, their bonding is their success.
Gotcha.
They can't get another public project without being bonded.
Okay.
So
Understood.
that really puts a quality control in place.
So just on that, Mr. Zambito, I'd just like to say that I've worked with Mr. Bell and his company before, and I've had nothing but positive success. He's kept me as a building inspector in the loop, and I think that is a major impact on what we're doing with these contractors. The last project that we worked on that's currently chained off and not working on, they didn't involve me at all. I've had more interaction with the Tomback project that is just beginning than all of the last project that the town did to completion. So I think with Mr. Bell in place and myself overseeing the contractors and myself signing off on each portion there of the project, I think will put us in a better position than we are with the current project that's currently stalled, chained off,
Fair enough.
and not completed. Because we're stuck there because I wasn't involved at all in that last project. I looked at no inspections, I signed off on nothing, and we went forward paying contractors. I think with myself involved in that, and not tooting my own horn as an individual, but as my position as the building inspector, I think that'll bear us more. And again, working with Mr. Bell, I have before. He's already called me 4 times on this project, and I've looked at stuff down there. Again, more than total on the other project completely from start to finish. So I hope that alleviates some of your concerns.
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
money
No,
back.
I feel better now already. Yeah, I just said, the project you're talking about, this is what I'm referring to. I'm not gonna name it, but it was a 1% retainage. I've never heard of such a thing.
Absolutely.
I'm like, this guy is not coming back. I mean, you know, and rightfully so. I mean, you know, I don't even know who negotiated that, but it was ridiculous. And I just don't wanna repeat that same mistake.
And unfortunately, that building permit is wide open. I haven't done any inspections and currently are waiting for the river to thaw so we can finally try to complete that project. So I don't think we'll be in that situation with Mr. Bell on top of things.
Good, fair enough. Thank you.
So as part of the contract, we waive the building permit fees, but there will be a building permit pulled on this project, which will give Tom all the authority to do what he needs to do. And really, it's just a matter of communication. You know, right down the road, give you a call.
Absolutely.
And it benefits myself to have Tom walk through the project, so.
I'm all
it's
for
a mutual
everybody.
benefit.
As you guys know, I try to communicate as much as I possibly can. I give you as much information as I have, you have, okay? And Phil gives me information, I give you information, and I share it with the building department. So we're gonna hopefully make this job as smooth as possible. Again, my only worry about this job and the whole thing is the cost. So, and that's always been the unknown, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get there. But I'm gonna let you hand it off to Ciro, because Ciro's our architect.
Yep.
And I asked Ciro to give us an update of some renditions of the new building. And Ciro, this is you, so this is the floor
At this point, I'll
plan.
hand it over to Ciro, yes.
Okay, so some of the changes that we made since the last version is if you go towards the middle and down in the middle
I'll
of the
blow it
floor
up a little,
plan,
Cyril,
where the,
just,
where the men's and women's room are,
all right, let me get down here.
right there. So we kind of rearranged the fixtures in both the women's room and the men's room. We need a 5-foot hallway to go from the community room into the activities room because that's the required width for wheelchair accessibility. There's also a requirement on the latch side of that door passing from the community room into the activity center. At that
Yes.
point, there'll be a ramp going down to the level of the existing activities room. And then we're going to be removing the overhead doors that are presently on the north side of
No, you
the
can, I just want to just update the public what they're actually looking at, because sometimes, you know, we know what we're looking at, Cyril,
Right.
but just so you know, this is the current kitchen area. This would have been the garage side area, okay? Right, Cyril?
Yes, and if you go up, scroll up a little bit towards the top, there's a mechanical and a storage room. That's where the ambulance is parked now, to the left.
Yeah, right here.
Right there, that's where the
So
ambulance is
that's where
currently
the
parked.
ambulance parked. This is the current bays of the garage.
Correct.
This is the kitchen that has to be extended out into the community room. This is where the new bathrooms are going to be placed. The old bathrooms will be taken out. And then this is the actual addition off the garages. So this whole area is going to be the recreational area. And this whole area is going to be the community room. This area is a conference room. This is a storage room. This is your entrance that we currently have. Kitchen, extended kitchen, storage, and HVAC room, right? So,
So the entrance is that's from the back parking lot,
yeah.
right there. If you scroll down to the bottom of the sheet, that's the existing front entrance, which we're going to replace with new construction. And to the left of that, there'll be a sidewalk across the front, and then there'll be doors directly into that addition right there. And there'll be a covered kind of walkway in the front of the building, which would connect to a sidewalk on the left side of that drawing, so that people parking on the side road and in the side parking lot, we'd be able to walk up a sidewalk and either enter into the new addition or walk further and turn left into the community room. There's
So
also
this will
exit
be a
door.
walkway here, Cyril, all the way across
Yeah, there'll be a
here,
sidewalk basically
all the
around
way
the building.
across here, right?
Yep. There'll be a
And then into the
sidewalk,
back.
and then connect to the back sidewalk.
Kind of like a big U. Right?
Visually, let me jump in. Those are dimensions, the line, so that's really entirely open space except for the
Yeah.
no, going through the
Oh,
community.
here, yeah.
There's no wall there.
Just these two pillars.
There's
Yes.
two columns,
So
correct.
it's wide open space.
And there's still two pillars here that's not shown. But
Right, they're not shown,
they're
there are
still
two
here.
columns there also.
What's the occupancy for each of those rooms?
The square footage is on there, and it's based on, it's, I think it's a 15 square foot per person for occupancy, which,
Table and chairs.
pardon?
The occupancy could move based on what you're using it.
So if
Yeah.
you divide the 2,000.
So this is 2,000 plus 1,200, right?
Yeah.
Well, for
So-
each room is what I
this
want to
is
know.
30,
Yeah, but those are
that-
connected, those two.
These are connected rooms.
Oh,
These are-
okay,
this is
okay.
all open, just so you know, this is all open area.
Okay.
So this is
okay.
3,300 square feet roughly?
Approximately, yeah.
That's the
approximately.
recreational room?
So 3,300 divided by 15?
There's a firewall right down the middle, which is an existing concrete block wall, and we're going to put a fire-rated door with that, at the top of that ramp, to divide that into two halves. And
That's
we'll
over
also do the fire-rated wall up to
Right
the
here?
other side of the roof trusses.
This is the ramp, just so everybody, this is the ramp, handicap accessibility ramp. It's going to be in the back part of the current bay garage, and that's so, because this is going to, this floor is going to be, what is it, 13?
16 inches lower than the other one.
This floor is 16 inches lower than this floor, so in order for a handicap accessible person that would be in the recreational side to use the bathrooms and everything over here, they would either come up through this ramp and come in, or they'd have to go out into the walkway and come in through this way. So they have two ways to access the upper level.
Correct.
And that, just so you know, we discussed, and originally we're going to pour this level all the way across, but to save on the cost of doing that, as we're adding in an addition, we put that money into the addition itself.
Correct. So the addition floor level is the same level as the activity floor. That's the need for the ramp.
Yep, so that's the ramp. This is the new door,
Yep.
the existing door.
We're
New
replacing the other doors, the metal doors that are on the building now also.
You want to explain why we have to expand this kitchen? Because people have been asking me that question. Phil?
I'll let Phil take that.
To add, so the community room will be basically a dining facility. We're planning on doing catering there. And so what we need to do is there's a requirement basically on how big the room is, the number of people you're serving, with the kitchen size. And there's also a requirement that the dirty dish area is physically separated from the food preparation area. That's really the driving factor. So what you see there in the bottom half of the kitchen is your dishwashing facility and shelving for storage. Another requirement of the Department of Health is to provide proper storage if you have dinnerware. If you don't do that, all your ware would need to be paper or plastic. So we're going to have, that gives us room for the shelving, is going to give us room to store plates and cups and silverware, which is wouldn't be a paper product. So basically, essentially what we've done is we separated your food preparation area from your food service area. If you see right going into the community room, Scott, is a counter service area, yes. So basically what you'll be able to do is return your dishes through that service window, and then they go right into the dishwashing facility.
So people that know the building know that this currently right here, this area, is that what Phil's talking about? There's a serving or disposable area. So what Phil says, now we have to have a clean side, which is the prep side, which is the current kitchen. And then we have to have a dirty side, I call it, but that's the cleanup side.
Yes.
And they have to be separated. So in order to do that, we're taking down that half wall, most of it that was there. We're expanding out into the room. We're putting a second sink here. And we're going to have pass through here now. There's going to be a little wall here so you don't see what's going on back here, right? Mm-hmm. But you could pass through your stuff here, or you could come out and serve it through here. This is going to be the same door that's currently there. This is the current door that's there, and this is the current space where there used to be the range, and we have the outlet for the hood, right?
Yes.
So this is kind of similar to what it was. This is the new. And then this all works into, we're going to be digging up the foundation a little here, and this is where we're going to be putting all the new sewer and water lines here. They're going to exit the building here, and there's got to be a big grease trap that we have to install out here by code, which our water department's going to help us put in. That's going to save us a lot of money. And then that eventually goes out to our septic, which is out in this area. But just so you know, too, the asbestos removal, we decided to remove all the asbestos, meaning all the floor tiles are going to be taken out. We're not just doing the one section, this is the main section of the asbestos removal, is the bathroom area. The second biggest area is all the floor. So all the floor tiles in the whole building will be taken out. That way, for future use, if there's any other additions, there's anybody hangs something or drills into the floor or hammers into the floor, there's no more asbestos going to be in this building, except, as we all know, on the flat rooftop of the building, which is encapsulated into the new ridgeline roof, the gable roof. So interiorly wise, there'll be no asbestos left. I'm going to go to some of the design plans. This is what people really want to see, right? So we asked Ciro, and we were driving them nuts a little, but we've come up with like 6, 7, 8, 10 renditions
Quite a
of
few
this.
different, yes.
But just so you guys know, I mean, us on the board here feel that we've written codes for new people to come into our town to build a building, and we hold them accountable to what we want something to look like. So why would we not hold ourselves accountable to something that we want to build ourselves? And that's what we're basing this on. This is exactly what we would want a builder to build if they were going to build here, so that's what we're shooting for. We might be off on the price, but this is what we're shooting for. So, Cyril?
Okay, so to the left, about 30 feet to the left right there, that's where the addition is, and that's a little bit shorter on the back than the main building, so the roof, yeah, so that's, go to the rear.
You can see it here, right?
Yeah, right there. That's the addition. To the left of that is the existing concrete block, which we're going to paint. On the two gable ends, the north end and the south end, will be vinyl siding on the bottom and vinyl shake-looking material on the top. Put this round louver in there to help break it up and give a little bit of design treatment. We're also going to extend a small roof projection, which is it's going to match the overhang on the rear and the front of the building now, but it's going to wrap on the two sides so that it creates just a tiny little hip arrangement at the lower end of the roof, but it wraps completely around the building, which gives us flexibility in terms of a continuous gutter and where we can make our drops for the downspouts. That's the north elevation, which is the new addition. So we've got 3 windows to bring light into the new addition. We also have windows in the front and the rear of that addition, as well as the double entry doors. Double entry doors are there on the left. That's into the addition. We put the dormers up on the roof for design treatment. All the windows are a 4-foot by 4-foot fixed glass Anderson 100 series windows, which is a cost savings as opposed to doing it in glass and aluminum frame, thermal break frame, and insulated glass. Those would be insulated glass. The double doors are standard glass and aluminum white enamel paint. The bottom part is a ledge stone, culture stone, in a ledge stone color and a ledge stone pattern. The siding is a 4-inch exposure, heavy gauge vinyl siding in a kind of like a light sage green color, I'm thinking. We're also showing a metal roof across that canopy with the 5 Craftsman style columns, and up on the upper rectangular shaped dormer on top of the roof. The rest of the roof will be asphalt shingles in a slate blend color, and the shakes up on top would be a lighter shade of that light green, or even a light gray. We want to stay in a lighter color for the vinyl because it tends to fade, and if we do something really dark, it would kind of blend, it would fade over time. All the trim will be white, probably a vinyl type trim. We're doing a 6-inch corner board, an 8-inch frieze just below the roof soffit, and we're going to do the Craftsman style columns will be built in place unless we can find a vinyl product that can wrap around like a 4x4 pressure treated post or something, which we'll look for something like that. So scroll down a little bit. There's the north elevation, and the dormer up on the roof appears taller from the side because you're looking at the front and rear side of that, where it actually goes down the slope of the roof and appears to be taller than it appears from the front. Also, the gable dormers are pulled in about 3 feet back from the front wall so that they'll be a little bit smaller than if we extended them all the way out to the front wall. The rear elevation, we're going to use the existing block. We're going to patch and point the joints in the block and paint it. This will be a painted block rear. But on the right side there where the addition is, that would be the same kind of vinyl siding wrapping around the back of that addition, because the addition will be done in a wood-framed stud and a wood truss roof. And then the south elevation, those are 3 existing doors. The one on the right is into the mechanical room, and the other 2 are into the community room. So we're going to replace those with new doors and frames and painted exterior. So those are just some exterior views, 3-dimensional views of the building from the 4 different sides. There would be a round louver in that one end. We forgot to put that in there.
What do you guys got, questions?
Looks good. Looks real good, sir.
The only thing I love it, but I always got a butt for you, don't I?
We're getting used to that.
You got to be used to me by now. Yeah, I like the overhang that they have at where the men's room is up the road here. It kind of like, instead of just being a straight thing here, it kind of wraps around a little. Like,
Yeah, we could do a hip on the two ends, and that would bring it in from the fascia. It would bring it back at the same slope, and it'd be it'd be kind of like a hip on the
Yeah,
far
it's
right
like
and
a
the far
hip
left.
end, right.
One like that? We could do
Yeah, if
that.
you ever go up 9W and you look at the building on the right where, across from CVS, they have a,
Those three stores.
they have one. It's kind of, I have to send you a picture.
I'll
send
take a
you.
look at it.
But besides that, I mean, I think you captured what we've been talking about now for a while here. We had many renditions of how we wanted to do this. Dave, what do you think? This was your suggestion. How you like it?
Yeah, I like it a lot, because now we don't have to move, because I think originally, sir, we were gonna move that front entrance, right?
Correct.
And now we're gonna, move your eye in a different direction, where
Yeah.
we don't have that, extra construction needed to the price.
Right.
And I like the way the cultural stone kind of fits the whole environment that we live in,
Yeah.
instead
The-
of brick face.
Yeah, the brick was outdated. And the sidewalk slopes down to the left because the grade drops off quite a bit there, so that we're going to carry that culture stone all the way down to grade and keep the capstone of the culture stone continuously horizontal all the way across the building to separate from the vinyl.
So
I like the dormers and the cupola, it breaks everything up.
Yeah,
is this slope here going to be handicap
yeah,
compliant?
it will be.
Okay. And then, of course, another good thing about overhang, not that it protects you 100%, but if it's raining or it's snowing, keeps some of the snow off the
Well, then,
sidewalks and stuff like that.
we're projecting that out 8 feet, so that would be, if you had a group of people there waiting for their ride to pick them up, there's plenty of room for people to congregate out there and wait out the storm.
I mean, because remember, this building's going to hopefully be used for our seniors, so, now if they come, there's a little spot under here they could congregate at if they wanted to on the outside. In the back of the building, as Ciro said, we're kind of going to we're going to take off that other siding that's currently there, that's fallen all down, and we're just going to take all the stripping down and patch and just paint the back of the building for
Yes.
cost savings.
That block is actually in pretty good condition, so
Yeah.
there's a few cracks we'll have to patch and scrape and paint the whole thing.
But the addition, obviously, it's all wood frame, so we'll just frame that in. This we kind of like threw this in. I always like going to see Frida's, and he has this on top of his building. I kind of think, oh man, it looks so country looking. So we're gonna see. Hopefully, we could get this in the project, because I think it looks really. It makes the building stand out a little more, and it breaks up the roof line. See, our fear was here. If you guys are not, we're extending the building 35 feet out this way, and you already know the building is kind of just a big open roof line. So Ciro said, we really should try to break up the roof line, and we all agreed that, add on a couple dormers and the cupola, and then maybe the overhang, it'll kind of like break up that roof line a little, right?
Yeah.
So,
And we'll bring in a lot of natural light, too.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's-
the main room's going to have a lot of natural light. The rec room's going to have a lot of more natural light. HVAC systems we didn't touch on, but, now we're having 2 separate rooms. We're having 2 separate HVAC systems, right, Phil? So there's going to be 2 systems with ductwork going in there. The good thing is when we opened up the back room, which is up here, this is the HVAC room for the original building right now, the mechanical room. Back here when our guys took all the walls and stuff down here, we realized these roof is, 20-something feet, 25 feet tall. It's like,
No, it's not that tall.
It's
It's
kinda
probably
tall.
like about 12, it's about 14 feet.
but it's tall, so now we could run all the main piping back on the back wall, so that we could actually raise the roof line inside the community center slightly.
Yeah, raise the ceiling a little
So we
bit.
could raise the ceiling a little more, so it'll give it a little more grandiose feel in the room. It'll make it feel bigger. Again, without the bathrooms here and windows here now, it'll give it a little more of an open space. And how we had them look at this is off the bathrooms, there's a little space here we added for tables that go in here, so for serving food, you'll have, I think this is 16 feet wide, two 8-foot tables. or
Buffet tables.
for serving. And then over here, we'll probably have hookups for if you had a DJ or things like that. And in our conference room area, we also have, we're going to have hookups. We'll probably have a projector of some kind or something here. We've had inquiries about people doing training classes in this facility. We'll be utilizing it ourselves in-house for training classes and probably negotiation meetings and things of that nature. So it's going to be a multi-used building, right? We're going to be able to use it for more than just a community center. So.
Yeah, we're going to integrate, excuse me, Dave, we're just going to integrate some, it's similar to this room, we're going to integrate some media center stuff. But the one thing I wanted to jump in is we're doing the split cell or the ductless systems in some of the smaller rooms, like the conference room and the kitchen.
Yep.
And the men's room, because it's bordering an exterior wall. So what that does is that reduces the size of the venting system, the plenum system. You can see how large it is in this room. You don't have to extend it as far, so it's going to cut costs significantly. I just wanted to mention that. So we're doing a hybrid heating, ventilating, air conditioning system, and we will be meeting all the fresh air requirements of public assembly.
The mechanical room.
Go ahead, Dave.
The mechanical room for the addition is kind of centrally located on the back wall, so the ductwork will come out and service the existing activity
here,
room,
right?
plus the mechanical, plus the new recreation room.
Yep, this again, so the mechanical room was moved down to here, so all the ductwork could come out here, right?
Yep, and branch out and
Branch out,
service both of those rooms.
And yeah. Go ahead, Dave, you had something?
I just want to reiterate on the facade of the building, because I know when I walk in the deli in the next week or so, and this gets out to the public, there's going to be a lot of questions about, well, why are we spending money on the facade? And why are we spending money on cultured stone? Why are we doing this and why are we doing that? And I would just like to make an example of, we spent a lot of money at the highway/water department a few years back. And when you ride past that building, it's the same piece of crap that you've been looking at for the last 50 years. So, we're staying within budget. Maybe, like Scott said before, maybe we can set a precedent to where, let's make an example of what we want to see in our town. So if we spend a little bit extra money to make things look good, you know, that's going to, you know, when you come into our community, not everybody's going to be happy with $1 million renovation, but at least if they pull in a town now, they're going to say, well, you know what, that building really does look good. Because if you go past the highway department right now, it looks no different than it did before we sunk all that interior money into it.
Well, if you're going to go through the process, the involvement of months' worth of time and the expenditure of money, if you spend an additional small amount and have something look good that's going to look good for a long time, then it's worth it.
That's my thing. But I just want to put that out there to the public because we will get flack about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
We, just to add one more thing is, we've already discussed doing some of these features as add alternates. So if the money's simply not there, we can do them at a later date, like the cupola. Right. Not a preference, not our first choice whatsoever. But this would allow us to proceed with the project and stick within our budget. Just, it's another one of these unknowns. So what we're doing to protect ourselves is a lot of these features, right, are going to be set up as what they call add alternates. So we're going to have a base bid, and then the contractor will have add alternates for different sections. We haven't worked all the details out on that. I know Scott's first choice is just to put it all in. So we're going to have further discussion about what we want and do not want to do as an add alternate. And if we're confident with the pricing, we may not do add alternates. We just put it all in. But that's always an option, and that's it. We've had several discussions about how we make this project work from the budget standpoint, and that's one of the things we discussed. And the other thing was, to be honest with you, was the town helping out, the staff internal helping out. And to be honest, I think they've made all the difference so far. So we're doing everything we can to keep to the budget.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I have
Go
a
ahead.
comment. A couple comments. I want to say again, reiterate that
these rendering are really fit the town setting, and you did a good job, both of you. It looks really presentable and well done, and all the interior, Scott, looks pretty all thought out too, so you can see that a lot of work went into this. My only question I have is that out of the $687,000 you have as renovation costs, what's allocated to the general construction, to the HVAC portion, the electric portion? In other words, is there a, do we?
Yes.
Oh, that's it? Okay, I didn't see
Okay,
that before.
so let's go to right there. So a significant portion of this project is electric and HVAC.
Okay.
These are rough estimates. $15 a square foot is what we got from the mechanical engineer. He actually, no, that's incorrect. $15 a square foot is what I've added because of the simplicity that we've managed to make the HVAC system. Like Cyril was saying, in the activity room, we have the mechanical room at the center of the room, so we limit the amount of vent and plenum work that we need to do, duct work, essentially. In the community center, we're combining the split cell ductless systems, which reduce the amount of duct work. So the mechanical engineer was actually using a figure of $20 a square foot, and I reduced that myself because I think these numbers are realistic to get the work done that needs to be done. But as you can see, even with a reduction, that's a significant portion of the overall project. So we're looking at $250,000 is your electric and HVAC, which is about 33%, 40% of the overall project in and of itself. Plumbing is hard to say. It's quite expensive because of all the fixtures. So we're probably another $100,000 or $75,000 in plumbing. So a huge portion of the work is the mechanicals that you're referring to, the breakdown of the different trades.
I mean, remember, we're placing everything brand new, right? Every piece of piping, every electrical wire, every socket, everything is coming out of the building. It's going to be a total start to finish gut job to revitalize the building back to new. So yeah, like you said, it's a big job for the HVAC and the plumbing and the electric because it's like a brand new job. But the good thing is we have a solid building, right? The building is solid. So having said that, all these things are expensive, right? So we do have a breakdown of estimated cost, Manny. I'll send you this. I'll forward you guys all this. This is the new updated version, so I'll send you the new updated version. So.
And yeah, it's a challenge. Some of these things are just, you know, the true form of an estimate.
Anything else? Go ahead, Mark.
Just a quick question on the resolution that you're proposing, number 32.
Yeah.
The company that was awarded the bid is now changed?
Yeah, you came in late.
I missed it, I'm sorry.
You came in late and we did an amendment to the agenda. We changed it because, well, you'll see when I do the amendment, when I do the resolution, but we changed the resolution based on information that we received today that the low bidder is currently prohibited by New York State Department of Labor Bureau of Public Works list to actually bid and work on public projects.
Was there a reason?
Yeah.
There's a reason. I'll have it. I'll talk about it when I get to it. Yeah, I have the whole reasoning. It's vague reasons. They don't give you the exact reason, but it's basically, I'll tell you, it's basically around not paying the prevailing wage.
So
that when they had jobs on the municipal jobs. So he's able to still do non-municipal jobs, but he's not allowed to do this job.
He's on a disbarment list.
And he's barred to 2026. So he thought, right, Phil, that he was.
So I'll elaborate,
Go ahead.
and I'll
Go
try to
ahead.
be as quick as
Go ahead.
possible. I had a conversation with the low bid contractor. 10 years ago, he had an issue with prevailing wage rates. Apparently, he didn't meet the requirements of paying his workers prevailing wage, or that was what he was accused of. It's taken 10 years for the Department of Labor to actually file a judgment against him. The discussion I had with him was he is in the process of appealing this. So I took the impression, and fault of mine, I'll admit, that with the appeal in place, this judgment had not yet been made. However, I decided to do a little extra research, and I found out that how it works is the judgment was indeed made, and it only will be removed if the appeal has been approved. So the judgment was made, and he is now on the debarred list. So I did some research. I found out fortunately I found out before this meeting, before the project started, but I did find out after I originally sent a letter of recommendation to the town for the original low bidder. So this is very standard practice. What you do is you simply move to the next low bidder. And that's
Trust me, I'm not happy about spending 20,000 more, but, you know, that's the way it is.
Is there any solar going to be involved on the roof?
No solar yet,
No
no.
solar. Okay, so we
We
actually
did
evaluated
talk
it.
about it. We did talk about it.
Very quickly, we evaluated it. The refunds, the rebates on solar are what makes solar worth its weight in gold, so to speak. The cost of solar is actually very expensive for what it produces. The refunds are very limited on commercial projects. It's not the same. The residential refund is much higher. So that's why you see far more solar panels on rooftops of residential buildings. So we did an analysis. I actually called a solar company. They helped out with the analysis. And the payback was essentially the lifespan of, or the warranty span of the solar panels. The payback was almost 30 years. So there really wasn't any benefit, unfortunately.
Mickey?
Thank you for taking questions. Can you just first of all describe the difference between the activity room and the recreation?
Sure. So the activity room is, I was going to say, the community, or this is like recreational activities, like our Zumba, our batting cages, any other kind of a recreational events that we're going to start hopefully having in here that can be utilized by the public. And then this is the actual community room where you would have parties or things of that nature.
So is the recreation room going to have any kind of a folding door to separate the two in case you wanted to have
No.
yoga in one place? And
We talked about it. I mean, that could be added later on in this area. We just felt that this definitely, when you put this ramp in, this is 5 feet out into the area already. We were just taking up too much space here that, yeah, can we put one here? Yeah, but we're not doing it right now. It's not put in the plans. We're trying to make it as open as possible because I know just from the Zumba, who uses it the most, and boot camp and things like that, this is the space they were used to using, and then this is the space we were going to give them.
so in terms of just understanding about it, that would be like the athletic side and this is going to be
Yep.
the community side.
This is the rec side, this is the community side. So rec side, community side for parties, events, training classes. Both sides could be used for training classes, but
So is there going to be any kind of acoustics consideration for the community room if it's going to have a high ceiling? I know like every place.
well, we're not going like this high. We're only going maybe, what, 10 feet at the most?
It'll be about 10 and a half, 10 foot 4, I think, in the community room, and taller, maybe close to 11 and a half feet in the activity room.
Yeah, the activity room's going to be high, just because we're kind of basing it off of what we currently have, right? So
This is a basketball.
this one probably around 10 and a half feet, but we don't have any plans of any acoustic. I mean, we have our tile ceiling that we're putting in. We're going to put speakers. I hope, my plan is to hopefully put speakers into the ceiling, so when you plug in, you'll have a system.
We all know what the acoustics in St. Mary's Church.
Well, this right here is tough, right? So
We can't even hear each other talk.
it's on our list. It's on our list in here, but that's a major project with the school because of all the HVAC system that goes in place. That's,
All the rooms will be furnished with a ceiling tile. So it'll have that commercial ceiling tile look, drop ceiling, they're called. All the rooms will have that. We won't have a look like this anywhere.
And so the new recreation room, that is taking where the pavement is by the road? We're
Where-
going north, right? We're extending
Yep.
north?
Yes. Yes.
Towards the flag.
what's
Yeah,
how the
where the
flagpole? The
pavement
flagpole is approximately right here.
Oh, okay.
So
So there's still blacktop area there, which is
Oh, yeah, we have to have enough blacktop. There's going to be parking still here, but you also got to have enough space away from the road. And we also plan on putting a little walkway here, so yeah. I mean, I honestly wanted to make it a little bigger, but that's the reason we didn't make it bigger is because we want the space for parking still along this area, right?
That's correct.
And we measured it out. So the flagpole, you're going to see when construction start, they are going to take the flagpole down because we just don't want anybody to hit it because it is going to be fairly close. We're going to take out all that cement padding that's been there forever. That's always in the way when we do plowing, and I don't do plowing, but John and the guys do plowing. So, and then the monument that's next to it, we're going to also take and move it. We're not sure where we're going to put it. We don't know if we're going to put it right back here. We might put it more towards the front so it's more visible. But we're going to reuse it at some point. But you'll notice that it will come down for a while during renovations. So.
It looks very, very nice. Congratulations. And I really think that the look of it contributes to what we want our town to look like. I think it looks really, really nice. I like the way it's color combination. I like the windows. I like the covered, the 8-foot covered sidewalk into the building. I think that's important, especially if you have wheelchairs, et cetera. Keep people, give them a little bit ample room to get into the building, still be protected. I think that's all my question. Oh, no, I had one other comment.
You want to build it for $700,000, it's all yours, Mickey.
Let me tell you something, when you say 700,000, when I was on the board between 15 and 20 years ago, whatever that was, the original price tag that we had to renovate the building then was $1 million. We couldn't go over $1 million. So for you to keep it under $1 million some 15 years later and have it extended and have it have that very nice look with the dormers, I will write a letter to the editor congratulating you all.
Mickey, we had 4 or 5 plans. One of them was 4.5 million when you were in the police department, remember?
Yeah, we're crossing our fingers, Mickey. I mean, I'm not saying this is a done deal, right? Like I stated in the beginning, we're putting it out to bid. If the numbers come in, the numbers come in. If they don't come in, then we got to reevaluate again.
I know I said it a couple times tonight, but really the town has made a difference on this, I would say.
So, thank you. All right, we're going to move on unless anybody has anything else. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Sure, you could, you want to remove your little thing? Let me just... Okay. You could just pop it out over there. It's over.
Yep. Do you have an extra copy?
I have them right here.
I think he wants to have a picture of that rendering.
I have it. I have it all. I have them right here. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere.
You sure?
We're all good. No, I don't. I'll have to send you the digital. I don't have it copy. I'll send you a digital.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll be talking. All right. So comments on the agenda. We have any other comments on the agenda than what we've talked about? Okay. New business SRO contract extension. This is just an agreement to extend the SRO contract with the school district 1 additional year through 2023. It's all in line with our contractual agreement with the police department, so the numbers were just adjusted to reflect that. So you guys all got this before the meeting and had time to look it over. It's again, we're not doing anything crazy here. We're just extending 1 year. And the reason why we're only extending 1 year is because 2023 is when the current PBA contract expires, so we cannot extend it past 2023 because I can't tell the school district what the numbers would be in 2024. So we're going to hopefully start negotiations middle of this year, and we'll move forward. So I just need a motion to sign this extension contract with the Marlborough Central School District, and it's for 1 year, an addendum to the municipal agreement. And it's for the period of January 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2023 for the town shall be paid $28.60 an hour reimbursed by the school.
We have three there now, right?
Yes.
One in each school? I'll make the motion for you to sign that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, so moved. Thank you, guys. Okay, back to our agenda. All right, so now we're at the point of code book review and updates. So we've been talking about this for a while. I got it here somewhere. Yeah, I got so many things.
There it is.
So we're starting out this year doing some changes to 155. Let's see if I can make this bigger. I don't know if I can make it bigger.
I can read it.
All right, so these are just the three that right off the top we've been talking about right away. I know Manny and Dave and Tom and Pat Hines and Chris Brand are going to have a meeting coming up very shortly. And that's our town board and the planning board are going to review any further updates that we may need in our code book this year. I asked Chris Brand to work with our team to see if there's anything that comes up in his meetings constantly that we think we need to have changed, and asked Pat Hines to be a part of that. So those are coming up. So these are the ones that we already have discussed in-house, working with Tom from the building department, and amending section 155.1, and this is to remove the definition of boarding houses, and this is because we don't actually have boarding houses in our community. The definition is not needed. If you want to explain any further, Tom, than that, but that's pretty much why. Section 155.27A.1A, this is the off-street parking. We're changing this from 200 square feet to 162 square feet. This means a parking space that currently we require to be 10 by 20 can now be 9 by 18. And section 155.30B2, multiple dwellings permitting a minimum distance between structure. Now this is a cleanup from our previous code that we actually put in place, and this is the distance between buildings of 1.5 times the height of the building. When we did it, we blanketed across all zones, and it should not have been included in C1. And so now it's going to be all zones except C1. With C1, if you don't know, is our hamlets, right? So in hamlets, we don't want to have 1.5 times the distance between buildings, or we'd have no buildings in our hamlets. So they're usually with 0 setback. So that's where we're going to go with that tonight. So you'll see that's going to be a resolution tonight. Tom Rack renovation is our next agenda item. We just talked about that. So there's not much to talk about there. Central arrangement cap, I just brought this up for you guys to be aware of, that I got this letter, and boy, I could barely see myself here. So basically, I'm not going to read the whole letter, but it's from the magistrate, and I don't know if you guys are aware, but the magistrate and the Sheriff's Department, Ulster County, have been working on a project for the last, I want to say, a couple of years now, based off the Oneonta County Central Arrangement project, and this means that they want to have a centralized arrangement at the county. So instead of judges from different municipalities always getting called up any time of the day or night to come in and do their arrangements in their towns or sometimes neighboring towns, there would be a actual designated area up at the county, which would be at the Sheriff's Department. And here's our Sheriff Figueroa, and he's kind of showing the area that they actually have set aside. They set this aside, I think, originally when the COVID time was going on, that they needed this space for some arrangements that they were doing up there. So they actually are showing that they have the space. I just want to let you guys know, and the reason I brought this up tonight is I'm not in favor of this for our community. I'm in favor of it as a whole for the community, and our surrounding neighbors are myself, Lloyd, and New Paltz are the three that aren't in favor of it right now. Mainly because we have to provide the transport, we have to provide the officer has to sit there for the whole arraignment, he has to bring them back. They're going to only pay for the judge and the clerk and the space, but the municipality is required to pay for the transportation and the officer. So we don't actually have a problem in our town. New Paltz doesn't have a problem. Lloyd doesn't have a problem. We have agreements between each other to help each other out when needed. But as the current structure is being written, and again, this could be 2 years out, there is no funding for it yet, even though you see an office space here, there is no funding for it yet. But we want to make our voice heard that we want to opt in or opt out alternative, or they have to pay for the transportation. There has been talks about the county actually paying for the transportation or themselves doing the transportation. If they do that, then that's a different story. Just so you know, like if we have a night shift, we have 2 guys on duty, I would have to take 1 guy to bring him up to the county for an arrangement. It could be 4 to 6 hours, and that means I'd have to bring in someone for overtime, either to cover his shift or he be the transporter. So, again, this could be a financial hit to us. I just want to bring it to our attention. It's on our radar. You can look it up, Oneonta County Central Arrangement Evaluation Project. And again, this is being done at the county level. Sheriff Figueroa is actually in favor of it. I'm actually meeting with him, I think it's this week now because we changed it a couple times. So I will get in his ear about it. I've already talked to the magistrate about it, sent an email on our behalf. You know, this could be a
At this
$80,000
point,
to $100,000
we're not going to
hit.
have to do this, are we?
If they pass legislation that says this is what's going to happen, and there's no,
Now, who votes on the county legislature? You, Tommy?
it's the legislator right there, so.
No, I know. I'm not saying that. I'm just
But
wondering.
there's no funding in place. I met with Pat Ryan and Chris Kelly this past week, and we talked about this. And at this point, there's no funding. It's not done yet. Again, most of the municipalities are in favor of it, especially Kingston and Ulster, because it's in their backyard, so it's convenient to them. But to municipalities like ourselves at the southern end, it's a cost, it's an expense, right? I mean, this could cost anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 a year. I don't know. It depends on how many arrangements you have, right? So.
Yeah, currently there's no legislation in front of us. I mean, it's been talked about, but yeah, everybody here on the southern tier is obviously against it. Obviously, it benefits Kingston, like most of the resolutions up at the county. So, you know, obviously I'll be against it, and most of my counterparts down here in the south. But right now, it's just in conversation.
So
I mean, how do you think you have a strong enough amount of people down here to stop it from going through if you had to? No?
No, I think.
How about Shawangunk? That's far for them too.
I think if they want, if they get the funding to do this, it's going to pass because they got enough support to do this.
Okay.
My thing, New Paltz, Highland, we're like, at least give us an option. If we don't need it, why would we utilize it? You know, now, having said that, I talked to both our judges. Our judges can go either way. And look, to them, it's a good deal, right?
They don't have to get up.
It's they might have to serve 1 week out of a year to cover that court, and they're done, and they don't have to do it for the rest of the year. So to them, it's not a bad deal, but, you know, Mike and Dan both said, look, we're not going to be for it or against it right at this point, but, you know, I'm just letting you know that this could be an expense that comes down the pike for us. So in talking to Jerry, he did say, and I'm going to ask him, he said the sheriff did talk about them doing the transport. I just don't see how the county is going to have a bill that the thing come down here, pick them up, go back, it's even more of a transport. So again, to me, the most logical thing is to have an opt-in, opt-out clause and allow a municipality to say, yeah, we want to participate in this or we don't. And
That we might have support.
that would make the most sense to me. And then we don't have a problem, we utilize what we've been doing. If other municipalities think it's a great idea, then good for them, right? Shouldn't be one for all and everybody fits into the same basket, right? So that's what we've been trying to tell them, that everybody's not the same, so. Okay. So we're gonna go to my correspondence, and here's our first resignation of the year, I think. I got a letter from Kim Pomeroy, Mr. Corcoran's supervisor. Dear Scott, this is a sincere regret that I have submitted my resignation as director of the Marlboro Summer Camp effective immediately. I had maintained hope that my recovery from side effects from recent vaccinations would be as fast as my doctor had predicted, but it's apparent that this is not the case. I am not able to do the time that effectively care for the director's position. I want to thank the board for their support over the many years. I will certainly miss the friendship of my coworkers and of course the hundreds of happy campers I have watched grow over my 20 years at the camp. Again, thank you sincerely, Kim Pomeroy. So just want to thank Kim for what she said is all her years of service with our camp. She's done an outstanding job with what we gave her. Trust me, it wasn't a big budget, and she did a fantastic job. She is having some health issues, and you know, we wish her well. And I know that we're having a meeting with the ladies, I think in the next over the next 2 weeks, and we're going to try to move camp forward. Again, if anybody knows a health director, we're hiring. We need that to actually have the camp. So the second one is from Jasmine Taylor, a Gold Award project. This is a Girl Scout project to the town of Marlboro. And let me bring that thing up here. I got all these things here, but I can't find them. All right, so just to give you an idea of what she's asking to do here. This is a board. My name is Jasmine Taylor. I'm a junior at Marlboro High School. Currently, I'm in 11th year of Girl Scouts with the troops 10287. I am working on my Gold Award project. The Girl Scouts Gold Award is the most prestigious award to the girls, seniors, and ambassadors can earn. I would like to propose my project idea to the town board of Marlboro. At the Cluett Chance Park has an established walking trail around the pond. Starting by the fishing dock, I would like to create a fun fitness trail for the children and families to enjoy when the families go to the park. I found that most children are in the stroller and disengaged while walking with their parents. My fitness fun trail would encourage and promote families to bring their children to interact outdoor settings. My hope is to have children look forward to coming down to the park. My plan is to paint 5 or 7 different activities along the trail. My version is to start the project in late June and be finished by September. As part of the project, I need to have a commitment from the town board to maintain the trail. This is a substantially component of my project. I am still planning the project with my advisor and leader. I am open to the suggestion from the board. I have attached 5 sketches of pictures of part of the trail I would like to work with. And then these are the pictures she gave us. So looks like she wants to paint some of these pictures on our blacktop walkway, I'm assuming. That's what she's talking about.
Looks like.
I'm not sure how these would hold up on the blacktop. That would be my reservation only. Dave, you might want to chime in here a little.
I'm not following 100% what she's talking about.
It seems like she wants to put activities on the walkway.
3-foot wide.
The one that goes around the
Correct.
round pond.
It's like 3 feet wide.
Correct.
This is just going to be painted on?
It'll be different, if I'm understanding it, it'll be different stations around where each one will have a painted activity that the kids can get out of the stroller and do the activity.
But it's just painted.
But I think it's painted on from what I'm understanding as well.
Back up a minute, when you say maintain.
Yeah, like
what
we
is
have to repaint
what do you
it?
have to do to maintain
Well,
it?
that's why I kind of like hesitated there a little
Well,
bit.
no, I just
I don't know what we
understand.
would maintain because
Doesn't
blacktop and
seem
paint don't really go together well, just in general. So I'm a little nervous even to say this would actually work on the blacktop.
Well, I told her I'll get back to her after, the board meeting, so I can, make her actually tell me better what her intentions are. So,
Yeah, I would ask her to come actually to a board. I mean, she just sent this in like just late today. So I would ask her to actually come here maybe.
Just do a pro.
And you guys could actually ask her a little more in-depth questions, because I'm actually, and I'm never usually skeptical about these projects, but I'm a little skeptical about this one, just because of being on the blacktop. I don't see how we're going to physically maintain this.
I don't know what there is to maintain.
And how do you maintain it? Well, it looks like she's going to put like this, and I'd assume you jump on each dot or something. I'm not sure
Sure looks like it.
what the activity is. Jen, you have an idea?
Maybe it's something like the high school does for the seniors that she's gonna paint on the blacktop.
Yeah.
You know how they do
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, yeah, that could be, you're right. Well, again, I don't want to, put words in her mouth or not. I'd rather her come here and explain it to us
Sounds like a
in
plan.
her words. So, I mean, but you're right, Jen, that they do that at the high school, right? They do the parking spaces.
They do a
so
good job, too.
I guess it ain't out of the realm of possibility.
That paint stays on the pavement better.
So I would ask her if she could come back.
Jen, is it a specific type of paint that they use? Maybe we need to ask her materials, what she's planning.
Go halfway around Round Pond.
Yeah.
Blacktop around Round
Okay.
Pond, whatever.
All right. That's all I got for that. And so now it's public comments. Is there any other public comments that haven't been talked about yet? If not, we're going to go into resolutions. And you know what, Mark, you asked a question. So here's our answer from Bell Engineer. And so the low bidder, Suburban Restoration Co. Inc., was found to be on the current New York State Department of Labor Bureau of Public Works Department list. The current search results are attached, and I'll show you those. As indicated, the list of Suburban Restoration Co. is prohibited from participating in New York State public work projects from 3/29/21 to 3/29/26. So this is the reason why we are not accepting the low bid as the winner of the bid. The next low bidder is East Coast Hazmat Removal, Inc. The bid forms were checked in compliance with the references checks. The bid form submitted. The good thing I liked about this is that he got a very, very high marks from SUNY New Paltz. He did great work there, so that was very good. I don't like that we have to pay $29,000 more, but there's a reason why he was $69,000, I guess, because the attachments show these are the reasons why, and the reason is one of these two reasons, determined that have been rendered within the consecutive 6 years period, determining that such contractor, subcontractor, and/or assessor has willfully failed to pay the prevailing wage and/or supplements. And final determination involves falsification of payroll records and kickback wages and supplements. So obviously there's a reason why it's $69,000. Obviously there was a problem here that prevailing wages maybe weren't being paid. So again, this is the reason. I could forward you this stuff, but just to give you guys a reason on why this is happening, okay? And that's why we changed Resolution 32. So let's get into our resolutions. Why does she got Resolution 31, now that I'm looking at it again? And then she's got 33, 34, okay, all right. Let me get down to the resolutions. All right, and I'm gonna read it in front of me. I don't know, Sharon, if you could scroll down while we're... So just so you know, I've got a new system gonna go in place with this, so hopefully we'll get better with me not having to have this printed paper in front of me, which I don't wanna have. I can't even find it. So Resolution 31, I'll do it. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following: be it resolved, the town board of the town of Marlborough approves the attached 2021 budget amendments. So this one is just for our budget amendments. I'm going to go to this first just to show the public where we're at. This is just an accounting thing. Through Chris, she's closing out the 2021 books, and these are the transfers that have to be made in order to balance out the books. You take them from one side and go into the other side and vice versa, and it all totals up to the numbers on the bottom. You guys got this earlier. So we have to do this by resolution, and the resolution is, be it resolved that the town board and the town of Marlborough approve the attached 2021 budget amendment and moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, so now what I have to do, just bear with me, because I got the new, Tina gave me the new Resolution 32. I can't see.
to Kevin.
Yeah, can you give it to me? Because I don't want to read the wrong thing. I want to put it up for the public, though, but... Okay. So this is Resolution 32, and I apologize because it's pretty much the same as what's on the agenda, but we got a different company. So bear with me. Some of what you're seeing here is not going to be what's actually going to be read and what's going to be put into the record, okay? But Resolution 32 is to award the Town of Marlborough Rec Center Phase 1 asbestos abatement. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, whereas Bell Engineer had prepared bid documents for the Town of Marlborough Rec Center Phase 1 asbestos abatement, and whereas the Town of Marlborough Town Clerk's Office and the direction of the Town Board advertised for the bid of Phase 1 asbestos abatement on January 20th, 2022, and whereas by 2 p.m. on February 11th, 2022, the close of the receipt of bids, the Office of the Town Clerk had received 4 bids, and whereas the following bids were received: Suburban Restoration Co., Inc., $69,960, East Coast Hazmat Removal, Inc., $89,900, Tossin Adham DFASH Global, Inc., $124,750, Beam Enterprise, Inc., $127,750. Whereas Bell Engineer had received and reviewed the bids for compliance for all references were checked, and well is the items considered with the bidder's questionnaire, and whereas the lowest bidder, Suburban Restoration Co., Inc., was found to be on the current New York State Department of Labor Bureau of Public Works list, and whereas Suburban Restoration is prohibited for participating in the New York State Public Work projects until 3/29/2026. And whereas references were approved by the second lowest bidder, East Coast Hazmat Removal, Inc., and where a notable project was completed at SUNY New Paltz in 2009 with high accommodations from the purchasing manager from SUNY New Paltz, and where it is a recommendation of Bell Engineer that the contract Town of Marlborough Community Recreational Center Phase 1 asbestos abatement be awarded to East Coast Hazmat Removal in the amount of $89,900. May it be resolved that the Town of Marlborough Town Board accept the bid from East Coast Hazmat Removal, Inc., and moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Supervisor Corcoran, before we go off of that topic, I'm just wondering if we should bring this up to BidNet, being that it's the first time we were using their service. I'm just curious if there's something they could do to ban people that are on this debarment list from even bidding on a project.
Yep. We'll definitely bring that up. Good point, Sheridan. Very good point. I got it. Yep, we can do that. I don't know if they have that in their software, but you think they should, right?
I don't know,
You think
but they
that if someone
probably
can't bid on a municipal project, they shouldn't be able to enter a bid on their site. So I would think that they would be able to scroll through that list just as we did. But yeah, that's a good point. Resolution 33, to introduce local law of the year 2022, local law, the Town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending various previous chapters 155 zoning of the Town of Marlborough Code. And it's going to be Supervisor Corcoran, seconded by
I'll second it.
Councilman Molinelli. Introduced the following proposal, local law, to be known as local law number. We don't give it a number until it actually is passed in the final, because there could be other local laws, which I don't believe so, that could be done in between, but that's how the attorney makes us do it. Local law number, again, we don't know. A local law of the Town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending various provisions of Chapter 155 zoning of the Marlborough Town Code and following amending Section 155.1. Terms defined to remove definition for boarding house, Section 155.27. Off-street parking, off-street loading, filling and service stations pertaining to off-parking spaces, square feet, and Section 155.30, multiple dwellings pertaining to minimum distance between structures. Be it enacted by the Town Board that the Town of Marlborough, that the Town Code is amended as follows. Section 1, Section 155.1 of the Town Code of the Town of Marlborough is amended to remove the following definition: boarding house, a building other than a hotel with a resident owner or manager whose lodging and meals for 5 or more persons are provided in return for compensation. Such manager shall be specifically authorized to undertake such repairs, maintenance, and may be ordered by the building inspector. Such manager shall also be specifically authorized by the building owner to receive legal summons pertaining to the building, the definition enclosed home. So that's going to be removed. Section 155, 27A, 1A of the Town Code of the Town of Marlborough is amended, read as the following. Deletion and stricken and addition or underscored. Each off-street parking space shall have an area of not less than 200, which is now going to be 162, as you see the 200 stricken, square feet, exclusive of access drives and aisles, and shall be unable to shape and conditions. Parking access shall be suitably drained and shall be paved with all weather surface accordance with the minimum specifications of Chapter 134 subdivision of land. Section 3, Section 155, 30B 2 of the Town Code of the Town of Marlborough is amended and read the follow. Additions are stricken and additions are underscored. 2, minimum distance between structure in all zones except C1, where there are 2 or more structures on a single devoted or multiple dwelling. The minimum distance between structures shall be 1.5 times the height of the structure. Section 4, if any of the sections of this local law shall be held unconstitutional, invalid, or ineffective, in whole or in part, such determination shall be deemed to affect, impair, or invalidate the remainder of the law. Section 5, pursuant to Section 22 of the State Municipal Home Rule, the local law shall modify and separate any provisions of the state statute while inconsistent with the terms of the law. Section 6, this local law shall be effective upon filing of the Secretary of State, whereas the town board has determined that the action to amend the town Marlborough zoning law is the unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, whereas because only the town board can consider and adoption changes to the town code, this is the only involved agency, and the board hereby declares that it is the lead agency for purposes of accordance with the environmental and review of the matter pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservative Law, whereas the town board has determined that the amendments must be referred to the Ulster County Planning Board for review and recommendations pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239M, whereas the town board refers the matter to the Town of Marlborough Planning Board pursuant to Town Code 15549. Supervisor Corcoran advised the town board that pursuant to the Municipal Home Rule Law that the State of New York, it will be necessary to hold public hearing upon the law. He's offered the following resolution, which was seconded by Councilman Molinelli, who moves for its adoption. I don't know why she doesn't have the rest. I don't have to read it.
That's the next one, right?
Basically, this is basically now telling you that the public hearing, so this has to go for a public hearing. The public hearing is set for March 12th, 2022, 7 p.m. here.
March 14th.
March 14th, I'm sorry, March 14th, 2022. All right. Again, notice the public hearing. March 14th, 2022, 7 o'clock for local law. Colleen has to publish this, right, Colleen? We have to send this to Ulster County for review. The foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote, which resolved in the following.
Supervisor Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Cappi?
Yes.
Councilman Zambito? Yes. Councilwoman Sessa?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Resolution 34, to introduce local law of the year 2022, local law of the town of Marlborough under Ulster County, New York, repealing and replacing Chapter 37 building construction of the Marlborough Town Code. Just so you know, this came down from the state level. This is a requirement by the municipalities, right, Tom? So it's replacing the entire Section 67. So we're required to do this. It's kind of like a boilerplate resolution they gave us. But it's Supervisor Corcoran, seconded by,
Somebody else do it.
anybody?
I'll second it.
All right. Councilman Couchy, right? Is that who said it? Okay. Introduce the following proposed law to be known as local law. Again, will be named when we finalize it. Local law of the Town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, repealing and replacing Chapter 67 building construction of the Town of Marlborough Town Code, be enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Marlborough. The Town Code is amended as follows. And this one I am not reading the whole thing because it's the whole entire Section 67. I don't know if, Tom, you want to give any kind of synopsis of this, but it's
all, again, it's boilerplate.
it's a lot of
Very
boilerplate.
minimal changes to what we had in the code book anyway, just updated some of the new code stuff that we've gotten in.
But it's going to cost us a lot of money to update our code books, just put it that way. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, but it's the whole chapter.
Gotcha.
We're getting there. Okay, where did I missed it?
You're still going.
No, that's the violations, fees. All right. I didn't miss this section, okay. If any of these sections of the local law shall be held unconstitutional, invalid, or ineffective, the whole or in part, such determination shall not be deemed to affect, impair, or invalidate the remainder of the law. Section 3, the local law shall be effective upon filing with the Secretary of State, whereas the legislature repealing the replacement of the Chapter 67 building construction is a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and will not have a significant advisory effect on the environment. Supervisor Corcoran advised the town board that pursuant of the municipal home rule of the state of New York, it will be necessary to hold a public hearing upon the law. He offered the following resolution, which was seconded by Councilman Couchy, who has moved for its adoption. Whereas on February 28th, the Supervisor Corcoran has introduced the local law for the Town of Marlborough to be known as Town of Marlborough Local Law Number, we will at the future date, number of New York 2022, a local law of the Town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, repealing and replacing Chapter 67, building instruction of the Marlborough Town Code. Resolved that the public hearing be held relation to the proposed changes set forth in the form of notice herefore provided and with the hearing parties of the Internet civilians shall have an opportunity to be heard. And the public hearing is going to be held on March 14th, again, 2022 at 7 p.m. prevailing time. I'm going to go through this. It's the same thing. This is basically telling you the notice of public hearing that Colleen has to put out. That's on March 14th, 2022, 7 o'clock. And foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote, which resulted as follows.
Supervisor Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinowski.
Yes.
Councilman Cauchi.
Yes.
Councilman Zambito.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sessa.
Yes.
Thank you. We're getting there.
There's a short one for you.
Resolution 35 to appoint an ethics board member. Finally, we got a full ethics board now. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, whereas the town of Marlborough has adopted a code of ethics in 2009, and whereas the code states that the town needs a board of 5 members appointed by the town board, and whereas we are currently have an open position, and where it is their recommendation to appoint Ed Mackey Jr. effective immediately with the term ending and date of December 31st, 2025, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Malinowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sessa.
Yes.
Councilman Cauchi.
Yes.
Councilman Zambito. Supervisor
Yes. And Eddie, your favorite time of the meeting?
I move to have the meeting adjourned.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.